Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's one you all can sing with us. When the Saints go marching in.
Thousands of years ago, the Mesolithic era was beginning for humankind. The nomadic hunter-gatherers organized into small groups. Now here, I'd worry about punctuation here. Isn't that what Cam usually does? We got to add in some punctuation.
Pretty much.
Differentiating social roles, building the first settlements, and initiating a great revolution. Step into the role of a tribal leader. Carefully choose the tasks to entrust to the people joining your tribe. Construct specialized buildings and prepare wisely for the events you will face, guiding your tribe to victory. Place your totem on the offer track, then follow their order to take character and building cards to use their specific effects. It's Mesos time.
Today on the board, boys.
Mesos.
Everybody sing. Now when the Saints go marching in. Now when the Saints go marching in. Yes, I want to be in that number. When the Saints go marching in. Sing it again.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 15, Episode 10. Today on the this morning on the docket, Mesos from Cranio Creations. This is your board boy. Hit him over the head, Rob, and drag him back to your cave.
This is your board boy, the shaman, Jeremy.
It's your board boy, Luciana Lucador, BJ from Board Game Gumbo.
And this is your honorary board boy for the day, Forger and Dave Dugas, a.k.a. Mr. Bilbo bagging that ham.
All right, well, if you can't tell, we are live at BGGCon 2024, having a good time. It is a Saturday, the day before we all go home and be sad, because we're done playing board games and can't be funny with each other anymore.
Dave,
Yeah.
Rob drove
You know?
11 hours to see us.
I know,
I did.
dude.
Awesome,
It
man.
was great.
That's what
Dude.
I do.
This is the best time, dude.
It
I
is.
look forward to it. You know, since the last one ended, I look forward to come over
Right?
and hang out with y'all.
It's been a great con
It's
so far, man.
amazing.
Played lots of games.
I finally got to play a game with Jeremy.
Yeah.
Have you guys really know how to play the game?
No
till
one's,
this
no one's been ignoring
Every time
me.
I ask him, he just kind of walks the other way or says, I got plans already.
You know what he does? He does a Rob when he's playing the War of the Ring and his friends come up to talk to him about
Oh,
War of the
yeah.
Ring.
And then you have
Rob's
Littlefinger
like,
pop up
Dude,
next
don't
to you.
bother me.
That was the most intense
You know what you guys should do.
game I've had at a con, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, Jeremy and I and Dave, for a brief moment, played War of the Ring, which is in my top 2 games of all time. Only this War of the Ring was on a 8x8 table. There will be pictures out there. You'll see it. This thing was impressive. It
Yeah,
had
it
like
was nice.
3D terrain, and it was huge.
Oh, dude. And the dice tower that you had in there was pretty impressive.
There was like smoke and lights. Not real
Oh, there
smoke,
should have
but
been.
Oh
fake
yeah, you
smoke.
weren't there later on, like when like buildings were burning up. They like put these like little tea light candle
No
things,
way.
like LED
With, like,
things,
cotton
like
that's
cotton on
black
top,
and-
so it looked like black cotton.
Wow.
And there's like smoke, but like the game is supposed to be played over like 8. I think 8 people can play it. We had 5, and everyone was supposed to kind of be their own faction. And this guy gave us this whole spiel about be your own player and blah blah blah. And then he kind of thought that we sucked at the game, I think.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, he said we were,
he's trying
like
to,
these
we were
noobs.
beginners.
so then he was trying to quarterback us. Now, on one hand, I learned a lot about War of the Ring because the dude's played it like a billion
He had every
times.
card memorized. He's like, they might have 3 of those. They're going to do this. And I'm like, what does that card do?
Dude, and Jeremy,
He's like,
he talked
they're
just
gonna
like
roll
that.
a dice, and they're going to 4+.
Like when
Kill
he
your
was
guy.
teaching us the game and his voice was shot, and then we played the game and I understood why his voice was shot because all I did was talk the whole game, like basically, like Rob said, quarterback.
Yeah, I
this.
feel like he probably did that most games and just doesn't realize
Right,
it.
exactly.
In the end, though, we were Sauron. I was Sauron,
Yeah, I was Sauron.
and then I was also the people that Dave abandoned.
The Easterlings
he
or the
nominated
Wicked
me
Men.
their leader when he left.
Yeah. Anyway, it came down to a die roll, and the Fellowship actually beat us by getting 4 points militarily.
In Mordor.
So the bad guys won, all right?
They got
the
Mordor.
bad guys won. They rolled into Mordor, and they had one troop left
One
against my
guy.
one troop.
One
wow.
die roll on each
He must have
side.
been a pretty good player. I've always heard that it's tougher for the Fellowship to win, especially if you're playing against
I've never won
experienced
against
players.
Rob, but
Yeah, I don't know. I
What do
think
you
it just
think?
depends. I think the Fellowship's
And I've been the
harder to
Fellowship.
play, but the other guys seem to think that the Shadow is hard to play. So
How is it
I don't know.
hard? You get the ring, find an eagle, have the eagle bring you to Mordor, and you drop it in the volcano.
Is that what? Spoiler
You know,
alert.
the story could have been a lot shorter if that's how it worked.
why didn't they just do that?
I mean, Gandalf knows the eagles. He's like, hey, what up? Don't ruin Lord of the Rings for me, BJ.
Yeah, no do sex.
Yeah, I was totally
machines.
going to do that the whole game, just like make.
Okay, well,
bad
how many
references.
times do you think Rob showed off his tattoos during that game?
Oh, dude, I think he cut his sleeves off before the game.
People
started.
came over like,
Just
do
to
you like
start
this
flexing.
game? He
He's
rolls
like
his sleeves
pulling
up.
up his sleeves.
Yeah.
Let me
He's
show
like
you where
humble
Mordor
brag
is.
here.
Yeah.
Check out my muscles while you check
Well,
out
this
the
lady
sweet
comes
tat.
over. Is like, someone told me to come over and show you my shirt, and she had a Lord of the Rings shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I'm like, well, yeah. You want to see my ink?
That part.
I thought it was only fair.
yeah. Mitchell comes with that beautiful tattoo that he has, and he takes one look at Rob's, and he's like, "Wow, I'm just like second place here at the con." 'Cause
I don't
know
know.
if
I think
you
they were
know,
touching
Mitchell has the
rings
same
later.
tattoo.
Yeah, no, I saw it.
Oh,
His,
does
his
he?
is nice. His is like nice and like he's got like a thicker one.
Yeah, but I
Like
think
the thicker ring.
I think he changed. His is still in Elven, but it says "Laissez le bon temps rouler" in Elven. So
I was gonna ask Rob like the Elven language. I was gonna ask what's all that gibberish right there, just because.
okay, do you know any Elvish language though?
Oh well, of course.
I know one phrase. Does anybody know a phrase in it?
No.
Ella sila lumen amentiovo. May the lights shine on our crossing, which I think is
Nice.
appropriate for
I think
this.
that's
Nice.
Cajun French. Barry.
No, it's not.
It's Cajun French.
Well, had we would have won, I would have went and got the same tattoo and been like your tattoo buddy. But
Right.
Since
You
we
would not. You're always
lost-
talking about like,
since we
man, I
lost-
want a tattoo,
I'm
tat
too scared.
but he's a wuss.
yeah,
tat
We won't. We won't
Those
do it.
needles.
Get matching on your left arm.
I
when
know.
that's
y'all
what we
play.
said.
I told him he should be the
Yeah.
other side.
We
That's
should
your
do that.
temple, Jeremy.
Okay,
You can-
next year we'll sign up again, and we'll have that ready to go.
And then we can be Wonder Twins activate.
and we'll play every week until then, so the guy doesn't think we're a noob.
That's true. Jeremy has been my War of the Ring buddy. I introduced it to him in what we've played twice
Yeah.
this year.
That's good.
It's on my 20 by 5. I got to play it 2 more times.
I
All
just
right.
saw Bonacor outside, and Bonacor's got that fancy, smancy
Yeah.
watering. Is that the one you have, or y'all have?
No, I have the
No,
normal
he
one.
wants that one,
I,
but-
I want. So when that one came out, I think he might have the original like
Bonacor's
fancy
got
one,
the
like the
fancy-
book.
Yeah, with the book and everything.
But they came out with that set again that was just as nice, but not in the book, like the second edition, collector's edition. And this was before I owned War of the Ring, but I'd never played it. If I could go back in time, I would have bought it. Yeah. I mean, because it's like
worth like $3 million right now.
yeah, it's like Bitcoin, I think.
Doesn't that count as one of your plays then for the year?
Oh yeah, I marked it down.
All right, good.
So,
Yeah.
but Jeremy and I have been playing we added an expansion last time. I have all the expansion stuff for it. So
Did he throw in expansions on this particular?
No.
one?
You
Oh, by
know,
the way, did
no,
you
there
guys
were-
describe the
there
board
were
itself,
expansions?
though?
there were characters because the Balrog's an expansion, and he had the Balrog there, but we didn't draw the Balrog card. I think he just had a couple extra characters in there.
I don't think we said this, but he had all the miniatures where instead of the little one plastic guys, they're like little armies on plates, and they were all painted. I don't know what scale it was. It was really small scale.
Yeah.
But everything was like
It's kinda
it
like
reminded
rank
me of
and
my
file
old.
miniatures.
It reminded me of my old days of playing rank and file miniature games, like classic Warhammer.
Yeah, like Moria was like this big enclosed, like it was. I don't
Pushing
know.
my armies around.
Just check the Instagram. There'll be pictures out there.
So that game gets compared to Star Wars Rebellion, right?
I mean, just because it's like a 1v1
thematic,
IP, yeah, like the
right.
gameplay is not similar.
So when's someone gonna come out with a giant Star Wars Rebellion
Rob, you should
game,
make that.
dude? With like planets hanging up in the air.
Oh wow!
You
I'd
need
like
to
see
make that, Rob.
Yeah.
That's no move.
Yeah, dude.
Then you can bring it to cons
Yeah.
and have people play.
That would be my jam.
Yeah.
I would be the guy with the raspy voice telling people what to do.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some games we've been playing besides Giant War of the Ring. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to talk about Terrorscape. I saw this in the library. I wanted to play it because I think I saw this game on GameFound or Kickstarter or whatever, and I was like, whatever. And then everyone's like, it's awesome. It's one versus many. I love that style, and it plays in like under an hour. And so then when they came out with the second one, I was like, I'm all in. So it's coming at some point, and they had it in the library. I'm like, let's try it out. And BJ had played it before.
3 times.
Yeah, so we were able to like stumble through with like pretty easily. We didn't have to dig into the rule book really.
Yeah, I thought
right?
it was a pretty good teach.
Yeah.
I knew like 87% of the rules.
Yeah, right. It's 2 to 4 players, best at 2 or 4. Interesting, I guess. It is from Ice Makes.
That's the
And
name of the company, yep.
yeah, the designer's Jeffrey CCH. I think they must be like maybe from China or
He is.
Japan.
He's from Shanghai, if I remember right.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
In
If
Terrorscape,
you look at Jeffrey CCH's games, he's got a lot of games that fall under the radar but are well received. Yep.
yeah. So Terrorscape is a one versus many game where the many know where the one is, but the one is trying to find out and murder the many.
It's like the
Yeah.
flip of
Yeah,
Fury
you-
Draft.
you
From
just-
the perspective of the killer.
Yeah,
right?
you just have to kill one, and the game's got a bunch of killers in it, a bunch of maps, a bunch of scenarios. Like we just played the base stuff.
We played the Killer and the Butcher, which was really
Yeah.
thematic. The Butcher with his chainsaw, that was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
and so the main mechanism of the game is you have like a card. The killer has a deck of cards they go through, and as they go through the deck of cards, they level up and get stronger. And so the longer that the players take to get out of the house, at least in the scenario we played, the harder it is for them. And they're basically trying to run around and dig through decks and find keys to get out, or they can go make some noise on the radio. And that's how I find them. Is at the end of their turn, they secretly are like pointing over there they have to talk so I can hear them. Or otherwise they're like kind of pointing around the board. And then at the end, they're like, we didn't make any noise, or, you hear something in this area. And then you're trying to deduce from that what's going on. And man, they had me stumped. But then
It
I
was
just started,
funny.
but then I started just running around with my chainsaw trying to scare people. And then like I'd like, randomly find them. And then I had cards that let me like decide to move into a spot. It's like I kept hurting them, but I could never kill them. But it came down like the very, very end, and I had to pick which spot they were on. And I thought maybe they found the backdoor key, but they didn't, and I lost. But I'm excited because I think Bo will like this. It's the right length for his attention span. And, he's going to love like miniatures and monsters.
and the table presence. You got to talk about what
yeah,
it
like
looks
that, just that giant house.
Yeah.
That's
As a
like
player
here's
screen.
here's
And
4
let me tell
pages
you-
on how to build this house, and it's got like the dice tower in it, and you set the keys up top, so it's kind of funny. Like they'll be jingling around the keys, making noise, and then they slot that key on the top of the house to taunt you with it.
Yeah. And
I
you
don't-
cannot see anything over that house.
No,
No, it's huge.
No, it's like the best player. It might be
Right.
like an overproduced thing, but it's kind of necessary with the size
Yeah.
of the board and
Yeah.
like not being able to see what's going on.
It does a good job of like flipping the tension of
That's the
like,
part I
being
like the best.
The thriller or the killer. I'm sorry. Like they're the ones being nervous. So it's like almost like flipping a horror movie trope or whatever.
Right.
Like the killer's like, oh my god, I have to kill these people before they're like.
And I
stop
can't
it.
find 'em.
And I can't find them. They're the ones that are
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
freaking out.
Playing on the people hunting or running
Right.
around trying to escape, I guess.
Yeah.
I got both emotions. Sometimes I was like freaking out when he's like right next to us.
It
or
does a
he's
good job
on
of building
us,
tension, dude.
And and like he's gonna get us, and you're trying to game him. He's like, he's not gonna think we go there. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Yeah, we're playing mind games the whole
We're-
time with Rob.
Right,
about our
but then
noise.
other times you're just laughing at him because he's whiffing. He's like, I throw my chainsaw. And we're like, anybody there? No.
Yeah.
Why are you going that way?
He's
Where are you guys at? I'm so
Leatherface just swinging
confused.
his chainsaw crazy.
So it gave me both emotions
sheets.
My
during one
favorite
game.
moments is whenever Jeremy would sneak into the room that the killer's there, and then the killer would go, I think I'm going to go that way, and go right out of the room.
Sneak
Rob,
between
it
his
was-
legs and tie his
I
shoes
know,
together.
I know we got you, but there was so many times you were
was
so
so
close to
close.
finishing the game. But you don't
that-
know how close it is,
and
so
that-
we're just giggling.
Yeah, but we're scared. Like I actually got that.
Were you
Not
s- were you
not
scared?
fear. I was not scared, like terrified, but
I mean, it's tense.
it was tense. I had that emotion of, which I think in board games that's how you pull off fear, is you make people super tense.
It's the closest game, I mean, top 2 or 3 games that I've felt that trepidation and that fear of like, is
Yeah.
he going to get me?
Is he gonna get me?
Yeah,
Is this gonna
I wasn't
work?
picking on you. I think it actually does generate that. you
Yeah.
know?
I think it's as close as you can get to fear in a board game, probably.
Yeah.
Like when we ran in that room, and if you hit us one more time and you went in there, like I was like, don't go in there.
Yeah, there was one part
Don't
where you
go
were
in
in the
there.
you were in the middle rooms, and I was by the looking for the keys and that thing, and you didn't know. I mean, literally across the wall, all you had to do was make 2 moves, and if you went to the right, you had to just make 2 moves to get the other player. I was like, oh, he's gonna get one of us, but you went the other way. So
Another
Yeah.
cool thing that that game does is allows the survivors to communicate easily without having to give out any information.
Yeah.
right,
You can
that's
point.
kind of
and-
fun. What I think makes this game, and I know no one's talked about it, it's a little tiny mechanic. The designer included a hidden room at the top. So if the players are smart enough, they can make noises like they're going toward the hidden room, like they have the secret map. But we didn't have the secret map, so it forces the killer to guard two different. You got to pick one or the other. Which entrance do you think they're going to run out of? That's a cool tension for me, man.
Yeah.
Cool little mechanic.
I think it's neat that you can basically move into and hide in the room that he's in and hope he just walks out of your room.
That's what I did once at least.
The game reminds me of that auto commercial or whatever, where like the people run into the shed with all the like the.
Let's hide with all the chainsaws. She's got that really nasally voice.
Right.
But there's a car with keys
Yeah,
and
right.
lights on. No, let's go to the chainsaw.
All right, Jeremy, what do you got?
All right, I'm going to talk about one. It's not a brand new game, but it has a new expansion. Hamlet. We played Hamlet with the new expansion, Lakeside.
Boo.
It's pretty new, right? That expansion.
Yes, the expansion's
Right.
new.
So Hamlet is by David Shurkop. Probably not saying that right. Published by
It's a Dugas. Oh,
David
sorry.
Dugas. You made it.
Yeah, thank you.
Mighty. Who made it, Rob?
Mighty Boards.
Mighty Boards.
Yeah, Mighty Boards. If I
Hamlet,
remember right, I think it's Mighty Boards.
yeah. Hamlet's a game where you're all working together
Rob's
to build
gonna
up
fix
a
this
city.
in post. Don't worry about it.
You all build up a city, and you produce resources, but they're communal resources, so everybody's kind of using each other's stuff. But when you build stuff, you get money. You can build other things, and you get money when they use it. So it kind of has a fun, like, we're building this together, but then it's still competitive. Like, why'd you take that wood? I needed that wood. Or you can be, like, specialized in a type of good. What the expansion adds is lakes. So when you fill out the city with all the jagged tiles, if you fill in an area, a lake pops in there, and then there's fish in that lake, and you can fish all kinds of cool stuff out of that lake.
Like tires and boots?
Donkeys. I was fishing
Oh,
donkeys.
What?
I think I got 3 donkeys out of the lake.
Well, thematically, you're cooking the fish up, or trading the fish for donkeys, but we were calling them donkey fish.
Yeah, sure.
It's like the
Oh,
desert.
yeah, that game,
like the
that game
desert
rocked,
salmon.
dude. I like making donkey trains.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I don't know if it was the group or the expansion, but I liked it a lot better than my last 2 plays. It was a lot of fun.
Dude, can you imagine like donkeys kicking wood from like one area of the forest to the other?
Right?
Like, they're like,
He's like tossing them like they're like just
like Messi
kicking
or
it.
something.
They just
you
drop
know,
it
for
off. The
The soccer player.
Yeah, this is the game that I backed, and I think it would have been 2 BGG cons ago, and they had it in the hot games, and we played it and had not a great time. A lot of people at the table didn't like it for various reasons, and I think a lot of it was the pieces are real fiddly. And then our local group, some people had some problems with the taking people's resources kind of thing, or setting people up for that.
Isn't that just one person?
That's true. That's Tim. But I like that mechanism, and I was like, I wanted to like the game, but I hadn't had a good game of it yet with people, and so then I bought the expansion anyway, and they had an upgrade pack which fixed a lot of the production-y issue things. They made all the iconography bigger and better, and the pieces they improved. They basically sent me all new cardboard for the game.
for free? Like, do people get that for
Yeah,
free?
it was a free upgrade with the expansion.
That is
so
awesome.
And I'm guessing new retail copies will be like that. So yeah, I'm glad. I liked the expansion. I liked what it added. And it added in some new buildings. And some of the buildings let you store resources. So if you're really butthurt about people taking your pieces,
Do we
go
ever
get
use-
that.
do we ever use that?
No, I built it, but
Yeah,
I never
I don't
used
think you
it.
stored anything.
I just got it for points, you know. So anyway, I was going to talk about Hamlet, Jeremy. So thanks.
Yep. All right. So I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna go in the same vein as going with Euros, but I'm gonna go with a game that actually surprised me. It was on my list. It was a game that I wanted to play, but it's Resafa. It's the new Vladimir Suchi, and says that it just came out this year. It plays from 1 to 4 players. So the reason I wanted to bring it up is because I had heard that it was kind of his next level underwater cities. Like he loves underwater cities, of course, he's as a designer, but he wanted to do a little takeoff on that. And underwater cities is my favorite Suchi. So I wanted to see what he did with it. And he did. I think he pulled it off. I actually enjoyed it. I've only played it once, of course, but I totally enjoyed the play. I like the combination of the 3 things. Number 1, you have these camels that you have to load up and go around the board and deliver goods. And it's very satisfying when you pull off and the tiles flip over, so you have to time it right to get to the best juicy gold when you're going there. And I like that. It's very satisfying when you pull it off, when you send the right amount of goods to the right place to get the right amount. But it's the actions that are the cool one. In underwater cities, you're playing cards sort of like workers to take a spot, and try to match up those colors to get that cool, really powered up thing. This time you're playing the colors to your board itself. So the cards are already in your hand, and you get to choose whether you're going to match up the colors with the pink or the blue and trying to make sure you get a powered up action. So it has a sense of Underwater Cities, but almost kind of flipping it on its head. But it still has the little route building thing. Instead of cities that you're connecting by routes so you can power up all your little underwater bubbles, you're doing this weird track thing with these tiles. And there's a timing element too, because not exactly like Barrage, but you could really kind of mess with people by jumping onto their rivers
water.
just when they're about to power up that river.
Yeah, and then if you do that, you get to choose which way it goes. And like early in the game, I popped a tile down just to run the cube and score some points because I didn't know what I was doing, so I don't know how early you do that. But you could run it early just to be like, haha, you can't take that cube.
Right.
And I hardly did any of the trading stuff. I don't know.
To your detriment, I think.
I
right?
think so.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big part of the game. I think this is a game where you kind of got to do a little bit of everything. I don't think you can ignore any part of the game.
He seems to be like that, though. His games seem
Yeah.
to be the opposite. Most Euro games are like, hammer something really hard.
Yeah.
This one, you kind of want to be good at everything.
Yeah, and the card mechanism reminds me of the card mechanism in Kutna Aura, because you got to pick which side of the card you want to do.
Okay, I like that.
Or you only have so many of the cards, so I really like that. You flip it and then you do the color action. This one, because it's like such a beigey Euro, and like the theme is trading in the desert. I was not super pumped for this one, but I will always snag the latest Suchi because he's my favorite designer. I think this one, I hope this gets out there and people give it a chance, because I think this one's going to be really popular and hot.
It doesn't replace Underwater Cities for me, but it's up there. Maybe
It doesn't.
maybe
it's
top
good.
2 or
Like
3.
this is probably one of his better designs in the last few years.
Yeah. I liked it a lot better.
I
than
really
Back
like
Edition.
Underwater Cities. My favorite one from Delicious Games, I think, is I really like Praga.
Yeah.
I still love Praga
Does this
a
replace
lot.
Praga? It doesn't feel like Praga at all.
No, not at all,
Yeah,
but-
it doesn't feel like it at all.
Yeah.
But I would say almost it's a little easier to grok the scoring than in Praga. Praga, no matter how, I've played Praga now almost a dozen times, and I still don't exactly know what's the best way to score all the points. I just have fun doing all the actions. You know what I mean?
There's
Oh,
not
I
a
got some
way.
points.
It's just you gotta combo wombo. Just keep going.
You can't do everything you want to do in
just
Praga.
keep swimming, baby.
Yeah, you can't do everything you want to do. So.
All right, Dave. How about you?
Okay, so I figured I keep my the games I'm going to talk about like thematic. So we're going to be talking about a card drafting game. Well, I'm going to talk about Rebel Princesses. It's published by BGGCon Games. It's an updated version of everyone's favorite Windows 95 game, Hearts.
Right. Right.
And it's got a great theme. Basically, you're playing as princesses, and you're trying to avoid the princes who are hearts in Hearts. And Hearts, if you get the Queen of Hearts, that's like the card you want to avoid the most. In this game, it's the frog, and it's a different suit, which makes it even kind of more cool.
Right. Yeah, it's the green ones.
So you play as a princess, and you each have different powers, which I think the theme is really super cool. To like have something that like you're playing as princesses.
They're all
avoiding the
storybook princesses.
Right. There's like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty,
And they kind of
Mulan, and their activation ability kind of is thematic. Like Mulan is kind of vicious. Basically, like if you're cunning enough, you can play a lower card to make someone believe that you don't have a higher card in their hand, to force someone to play something lower. Or
Yeah, you basically.
yeah,
you're basically reversing
I'm lost
it.
a little bit, but yeah.
You're basically reversing it. So you'll force somebody to play something, and then at the end you'll play Mulan and switch out the card you already have. So they think that you've played this big 8 or 9, and all of a sudden you come back and swoop right under them, under their 6 for 4, and make them take all the princes.
Yeah, sure.
Mulan is awesome.
It should be Star Wars themed, and
Yeah.
they should have Princess Leia in there.
Oh yeah, it should
She
be
is
the
a-
only one
then
there.
you
It's
play it-
like
She is the rebel princess.
yeah.
You
I
play
mean,
it
there's
around
only
with Star
two-
Wars theme.
Yeah, man.
women in the original Star Wars. There's like
Right?
Mon Mothma and Leia, and that's it.
Last night we had a couple of people try to go Rebel of the Ball,
Yeah.
where they're trying to get all of the princes.
Oh yeah.
And the frog.
You can shoot the moon
You
basically.
shoot the
just
moon,
like
and
in Hearts.
instead of losing 17 points, you gain 15 points. That's a
Well,
that's
like
a $20 million point.
So I'm not
differential,
sure
if I
how
have it
you know,
right.
And shoot the heart. If you shoot the moon in Hearts, you don't get any points, and everyone else gets points, and you don't want
don't make
points,
it.
right? Yeah.
Oh,
It's been a long time since I played, but yeah.
But yeah, dude,
Rebel Princess,
is
fantastic.
great,
Now
dude.
the deluxe edition that Bezier Games has, opposite to the one I have, is a continuing theme of Rob and Logan having better versions of small card games than I do. But this one has, I would definitely recommend that one instead of the Zombie Paille game, because you get more of the event cards that start each round. I mean, a lot more. And then I think you even have a few more princesses. So yeah, thumbs up for me. I love that game.
Nice. I got one more to talk about. I'm going to talk about Iron Forest. This is from Brain Games.
Yes.
And
Surprise for me.
designer's Brian Gomez. Anyway, I saw this at Gen Con 5 or 6 years ago. They had a prototype. I was like, multi-layered ice, cool. That looks cool. And then I think I missed the Kickstarter. It was like in 2020. I looked it up. And I think it's just now delivering because it was in the Hot Games room. So it is team versus team, up to 4 players. It has got multiple scenarios. You're still flicking around with ice like you would do in Ice Cool. There's these little robots that you're doing.
Still trying to get the fish.
Yeah, you're still trying to go through the doors and get the achievements, at least in the intro scenario we played. And if you're on the bottom, there's catapults that catapult you back up to the top. And then there's holes on the top that fall back down to the bottom. And then there's a ton of different modules in this box. There's player powers. Some of the scenarios require dice. I don't know what those are for. There's like treasure chests.
You roll them and numbers come up on the top.
Yeah, that's how it
I
works.
think that's how they.
Anyway, it looks like they kind of gamified Ice Cool a little more and just made it look. And we played this in the atrium, and
you had a lot of people stopping.
I've never played a game. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but this is the game that we played so far at this con anyway. That everyone walked by was like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, it's got a table presence.
Yeah, and then like somebody was, or like as we're packing it up, they're like, "Oh, can we check that out?" So
funny.
It looked like a Jumanji Ice Cool from just my from where I was standing.
Dave, we brought the empty box back and just gave them the setup.
Yeah.
We brought the empty box back, checked the empty box in, and they checked it right back out.
Yeah.
I've never done that before.
So anyway,
Oh, wow.
I think we have Ice Cool 1 and Ice Cool 2. This is probably going to go right next to those two at some point. It's not out yet, so just keep your eyes out for Iron Forest. It looks sweet.
it's not Ice Cool 3. It's actually
It's
a
not.
different
It's
game.
a different game.
It's
and
a different game.
There's a bunch of scenarios in there. I'm intrigued
Yeah.
to see all the different stuff you can do.
That's a good call.
Nice.
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about a new one that a lot of people are probably excited about, Civolution. We won't talk much about it because I'm sure you guys will do a podcast on that, right, Rob?
Is this from a new designer? Or something?
Very much so. You know, I've met him.
Really?
It's from,
Yeah.
Is he as tall as
A
they
new
say?
designer?
He's very tall.
I think it's his first game. First game, Stefan Feld.
Stefan Feld. Yeah, I met him at Gen
Steven?
Con at the Secret Cabal meetup, and Campbell, instead of going to the meetup, wanted a game. I don't know who that sounds like. Me. And I was like, I got to take a picture. And he signed my Point Salad box, even though he's not the designer of Point Salad.
Right.
But when you think
That's
Stefan
funny.
Feld, what do you
Yeah,
think?
Yeah, point salads.
Yeah. So I think I have a
Nice.
one-of-a-kind item there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It'll be in the Smithsonian someday, or the
It's
Louvre.
worth millions.
Yeah.
So, Jeremy, you played Civolution?
Rob's-
Yes, I
Smithsonian.
played it. I played it twice. So the theme is kind of interesting. You aren't the civilization. You're at a university and you're running a simulation of a civilization. And so,
Meta.
and I don't know if that really changes the game that much. Except, I think the funniest part I thought about that, there's an action where you push a button and the icon is a little circle with a finger pushing a button.
dude.
So I just imagine you're
I never
sitting
noticed
at.
that.
Didn't the
You're
cover
sitting
of
at
the
some
box
big computer
remind
and
you
you
of
push a
Star
button.
Fox? Like the guy with the hands that you could barely see whenever.
Yeah, a
like
little
the
bit,
villain.
yeah.
It's just like, oh, you see his hands on the box. I don't
It's a
know,
really good game, though.
crazy.
I think the thing I like about it the most is it feels super open, and like you could do completely different things any game, and you don't even need to know what you're gonna do when you start. You just kind of push buttons and see what happens, see what kind of path you want to go down. I like games that feel sandboxy, I guess, and kind of let you kind of just
That
do
one
it,
did
do
feel
whatever you want to
sandboxy,
do.
I gotta admit, it did
Yeah.
feel that way.
Yeah, man, you could. I think I think you can play this game a billion times and never play the game the same way. I mean, not a billion, but I mean, there's so many different tech things you can do. Like, there's 20 workers in the box. Why are there 20 workers? I've never seen anybody build like more than 5.
But
So
But maybe you
there
could.
must be a reason.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's got to be a strategy where you're just like, I'm gonna go,
Procreate.
yeah, and then you gotta feed them. And the thing I like about it is everything you need to know about the game is pretty much on the game board.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Everywhere. You can find everything everywhere. It's got 22 actions, 18 resources. It looks insane, but once you get into it, it's fairly intuitive.
Yeah.
I'm dubbing it Castles of Burgundy, the Civilization game.
Yeah.
Just because of the dice placement, but
the dice placement does feel like Castle
Yeah,
Burgundy.
that's the only
and
thing
the
that
nugget
feels
is,
like it,
the
but-
little ideas that
Ideas,
let you,
or
let
the
you multiply.
focus that, like,
or
yeah,
even the focus.
any
yeah.
dice you want.
Yeah, he's got a nugget and a super nugget.
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
the super nugget.
The super nugget.
Yeah.
One thing I want to just mention about Civolution, besides having a great teacher from Professor Rob, and made it very smooth in the second half of the game, but it has one of my favorite mechanics, like from Revive, where you really want to flip those tiles, even though you don't know what's on the back side of them. Most of the time they're good, or they'll sometimes hurt other players. That is just a satisfying thing to flip other people's
Oh,
tiles.
the exploration
Yeah,
tiles.
man.
Oh, sorry, the exploration.
When you hit that volcano and destroy BJ's farm, that's like the
You had
best
that
feeling in
happen?
the world.
Oh yeah,
You had a
Yeah.
volcano
He's
destroy a
smashed.
farm.
He
I
smashed
popped
my
a,
farm.
a glacier in our playthrough, and
that
I had to
glacier.
upgrade that
made
allowed my
people
people
He
to like.
put coats on.
Yeah,
He's
give
walking
him
around
coats.
in his coats. The
Basically,
glacier's
like,
not hurting
the glacier
him.
didn't exhaust them.
And
They
every
couldn't be
round, I'm
exhausted
like-
if they were next to the
Every
glacier.
round, I'm like, Dave, don't you have to kill one of those guys? And he's like, no, man, I got my coats.
But every game being different, and we had the weather where it kind of stayed in the middle. We were
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
tropical
ours
the whole
went.
time.
Ours went cold.
Yeah, so
We
I
went
would bet
all the
it would
way
be totally
cold.
different.
Yeah.
If it
And,
stayed
and Dave,
cold the whole
I was like,
time.
Dave, you lose a guy or a food. He's like, no, man, I got my coats.
Yeah, that's right.
You
bro.
might not think this game is super. You know what? I feel like this game might be kind of thematic for
more
a
than we
Stefan
think.
game.
More than we think.
Or you can
yeah.
make up your own like little Civ story as you're going, right?
Yeah,
'Cause you're getting actual technologies, like for the game. I don't know. I mean, it obviously could be maybe any theme, probably,
Yeah.
but it works as this theme for sure.
Yeah.
I like how the
think it's got
turns
the
were
theme.
also super snappy. Like,
They are
They
quick
just,
And
turns.
Dave, it's the only time I've ever been to say in a board game, I'm pretty good at procreating.
I was thinking about getting level 3 procreation next time.
dude, yeah,
Yeah,
max it out.
I've seen some ads for it on TV. if you want to
It's
get
the
really
game.
good.
It's the game. Well, we'll get into maybe our top 3 games here in a little bit.
My game?
Go ahead.
I'm going to switch gears because we've been kind of going heavy in the last ones, and I'm going to talk about the greatest card game of all time. The reason I know it's the greatest card game of all time,
Because it says it on the box.
it says it on the box, Rob.
Yeah.
It's called Flip 7.
That's
it's
good
from,
marketing.
It's definitely. It's called Flip 7. It's from The Op, and it's from designer Eric.
I'm almost
Eric
positive that the
Olson.
publishers went, "Hey, what should we put on the cover of this box? Let's call BJ from Board Game Gumbo and ask him." And BJ was like, "You should put the greatest game that involves the number 7 on a Tuesday on this box." And I'm like, well, that's a start. And
Dave,
they ended up-
ABS, man, always be shilling. You think I got this watch just from hanging around with you, man? No, always be shilling, bro.
It's the only game that if you have 3 copies, you can play 400 players.
yeah, dude.
1 to 18.
They should put that on the box.
It's best at 57.
So we've played it at small counts and we played it at big counts. And playing it at a big count of like 8 or 10 people is a blast, man. So what is Flip 7?
Party blackjack.
Party blackjack. That's the way to like flip. Everybody gets a card. All the cards are the same number as the number of the card. So that's 12 12s, 11 11s, 10 10s. We've seen that before. But the difference is instead of like a particular number that's going to bust you, it's just pairs. Rob, the game is so easy to teach. It's like if you get a pair, you bust. What makes the game, I think, is all the wacky little special cards.
Yeah, you can like, there's one like take that, like flip 3 and try to bust somebody. But sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm going to take 3.
I'm gonna
They almost feel like Uno special cards, right?
Yeah.
It's like almost push your luck with Uno.
Push your luck,
kinda.
Uno? That's a good
With-
way to put it.
I don't know. Just the special cards kind of feel Uno-ish.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a buddy that loves Uno, show him flip 7.
right,
So
exactly.
I've had Flip 7 in my backpack, but it never stays because people are always coming up to me saying, hey, can I borrow Flip 7? And they'll go out. And it's not a review copy. I mean, I actually purchased a copy. Shout out to Jamie from the Secret Wall. He was gushing about it last week. I was like, oh, I got to get this game. And Jamie was right. This game should be in anybody's backpack, and it's going to be perfect for the Christmas holidays. That's the Flip 7, the greatest card game of all time, Rob, from the op.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about, I guess it's one of the most controversial games in the con.
Yes.
Is it
Either
kinda
you
like-
love it or you hate
Is
it.
it kind of like
or-
Batoku?
Yeah,
It
it's
might
kind of
be-
like Batoku,
it
but
might be
not.
Rob's 4-point game, I think.
Rob's
Rob,
Slay
4
the Spire, the board game, the
I-
video game, the board game.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, so it's basically Slay the Spire, the board game, is a straight implementation of the video game, except it's cooperative. So, like, the first time I played it, I liked it. I love Slay the Spire, the video game. So when I played the board game, it kind of, I got a feeling of this is too much. It's like the setup is a lot. The teardown is a lot. But then my second playthrough was much smoother because we kind of went through the rules, got everything better, made everything smoother. And now I'm thinking I like it even more because I feel like if I want to play Slay the Spire with friends, I'll pull out the board game and I'll find people that like Slay the Spire. Or if I want to get them into Slay the Spire, the video game, I'll show them the board game. But it's just, you're just playing Slay the Spire, the video game, with the board game. And Jeremy played with me a second ago. I think you enjoyed it. Your second playthrough a lot more than your first one, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, it was fun. It's not like a super hard thinky, like, it's not like Civolution where I'm sitting there, what am I going to do? It's a game I think you could play and kind of chat and laugh and do your combos, and it feels really good when a combo pops and you're like, do 10, I do this and I do 10 damage and that guy's dead. That's a fun feeling.
The best thing about Slay the Spire is milling your deck or shimming your deck and getting upgrade cards. That way you're constantly drawing your best
Awesome
cards in your
cards.
deck and you're doing great combos.
Every character seems to play really different.
Yeah,
I thought that was
there's 4
interesting.
different characters. One of them's like a fighter that he just goes in there and does fights. The other one builds up these shivs, knives, and they'll like spend one turn where they'll throw all their knives and do massive damage. Right. Another player plays with like elements like lightning and cold, and the other one plays where So the last character that you unlock in the video game is one of the hardest ones to play as. I still haven't beaten the game with her, and Jeremy played with her last night. And what did you think about her, the way she
tougher.
plays?
She was tougher.
Right.
I think
It's a very delicate balance when she activates her power.
Yeah,
she also
I wasn't doing
damages
it quite
herself.
right either, so I need another try at that guy. But it was funny. Dave and I got a demo. We were sitting down at the demo, and I look over, and he kind of looked like a kid on Christmas, like opening his present, and he kept
mouth
saying,
was agape.
"This is just like the video game.
It's like the
This is
video
just-"
game.
And he wasn't like doing his Dave like jokey, sarcastic. This is just like the video game.
I was kind of joking,
And,
but I
like,
was really excited because
the lady giving the demo was like, "Oh man, I got this guy. He's buying this game."
for sure.
So that
Did you buy the underchrome and the protection for the seats and all that too? No, you didn't do that.
But like every morning I can like sit down at my computer with a cup of coffee and run through a couple of Slay the Spire
run through it.
runs.
I'm gonna get the app.
And now you can do it on the board.
And I could do it.
I
will
don't
never
thi-
play
I don't
it
think you could
solo.
do that
I don't
in the
know why you would
morning
wanna
with a
play
cup
this
of
game
coffee.
solo when you could just play it on the computer. But this is for if I want to.
That's
play
probably
with
the
friends.
biggest con is people are like, "Why don't you just play the video game?"
Yeah, Dobler was basically just like poo-pooing all over my experience. But I don't know. To me, it's. I guess if you give it a try and play with friends, it's more cool because you can spread out damages.
Yeah, I got into it when we were like going. It was kind of a slog the first play, just because we were kind of struggling a little bit. And you play through 3 acts, right? And I think the box says
Yeah.
60 to
It's kind of
90,
a
and that's
campaign
one
game.
act. But you're supposed to play it through all 3, so it's kind of a thing where you're going to play this game a bunch with your buddies. Maybe you'll play it all night or something, or you'll play it once and come back. It seems like it has a good save system. I see people playing this game everywhere. Like
At
at
con,
BGG
yeah.
Spring, it was everywhere. Down here, I walked through the vendor hall or through the tables. You always see
we saw a
somebody
lot of
playing it somewhere. It definitely has its audience, and like I know Cam loves the video game, so like I'm sure he would like the board game. I'd be curious to see what he thinks about the board game.
So you
I
gotta
don't
come
care
to
at all
Iowa.
about the
Yeah,
game because the
Come
video
to
game
Iowa with the board game. We'll play with Cam.
Yeah, dude. And
because
we'll
I've never
experience.
played it. So like I don't have that attachment to it. But I think anybody that likes Play the Spire will probably really like this game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, and what was funny was when I was opening it, Rob and Jeremy were like, "Man, look at this art. This art is terrible." And the art is kind of cheesy.
It looks like
but
my
that's
kid
part
drew
of its
it.
charm. Is like the art.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like
Right.
it originally was like this super low budget game from this company, right? That kind of just exploded. Like that's kind of its story, right?
Sure.
I didn't get to play it, but my favorite part of watching you guys when I kind of snuck up while you were playing is whenever you would flip a character, and if nobody had that character, all y'all would have to go whack. That was just. I mean,
that was
I just
great.
started laughing, man.
Yeah.
So Rob, we're still on
Oh, boy.
for all 3
Can't
acts
bring this guy
tonight,
anywhere.
right? We're gonna play all 3 acts tonight. We're not gonna quit
gotta at least make
until
it
we
through
beat
Act
all
1.
3 of them.
So tonight on the podcast, we played Mesos from Cranio Creations. It is by Yanev Kahana and Simone Luciani.
I don't think he's committing to that.
The art is by
tonight.
Carrie
I don't think he
Aitken.
wants to.
The rank overall right now is
Let's just take
6,000.
away all his other board games. Then he has to play it.
6,420.
Yep. In Mesos, came out 2024, is currently ranked 7.2. You take the role of a Mesolithic leader and guide your tribe to victory. I feel just like that when I
Dude,
played this game.
Did I ever?
It's 2 to 5 players, best at 4, which we did this morning. It's 20 to 50 minutes. We hit that. Ages 10 plus. We hit that. And the weight is 2 out of 5.
Did we hit ages 10 plus?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
And that's like the bow cutoff. So there we go. In Mesos, basically we're going through 3 eras.
Era.
And every era, there's some buildings, and there's cards above and below this track. And from the top down, people are going to take this little totem and place it on a thing. And there's arrows pointing at the cards at the top, and there's arrows pointing at the cards on the bottom. And some have multiple arrows, some have 1 arrow. Everyone places out in turn order, and then from left to right, you resolve that and you take the cards. You're building a tableau with these things. There's builders that give you a discount on building buildings, which you have to use food for. There's hunters, which when you get a certain, like every hunter will add to your food, but certain hunters will trigger you gaining food. There's the artisans, like the inventors,
artists.
the blue cards.
The blue cards are inventors.
Yeah, and that's like a set collection of different types. There's
With
the
a cool multiplier.
yeah, there's the painters, artists. There's the yellow
artists.
cards. There's the shaman, which basically have to do with this event that comes up every round.
The shamanic event.
Yeah.
And, then
Shaman.
and the gatherers.
And there's the gatherers, which give you a 3 food discount on all the feedings. So there's also seated in this deck in every era is some different events. One, you're going to compare your shaman symbols, and top player gets points, bottom player loses points. There's one where your hunters trigger and give you food and points. There's one where the painters trigger, and for every 2 painters you get, or every painter gives you points. But if you don't have enough painters, you lose points. What other build? There's
The hunting feeding.
Or
thing.
the feeding.
the feeding one where you have to feed 1 food per all your people, and there's ways to get around some of that.
By having gatherers.
Yeah, by
right?
having gatherers. I think that's all the events.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
There
So-
is a hunting event where you get some points, remember?
Yeah,
Based on the
I think I
hunters.
said that
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
But it's interesting because the events will come out in the top row, so you get to see a round before they're going to trigger because they go to the bottom, then they trigger. And then same thing, the buildings, level 1 buildings will be out there. As soon as Era 2 cards come out, they drop to the bottom, and then the Era 2 buildings come out, and then the Era 3 buildings come out in Era 3. And then at the end, the last 2 events are always a feeding and always a shamanic ritual event. At the end of the game, you have to have the most points, and the inventors score by set collection, and you're gaining points during the game through like events and things,
Or losing
Or
points.
losing points.
Or-
You can definitely get negative points.
or
in this
losing
game.
points. And every round, the stakes get higher. So in round 1, you lose 1 point for every person you can't feed. In round 3, it's 3. And same thing, like you get 1, 2, or 3 points at the scorings depending on which era it's in. So it just ramps up there. And so it can get really bad if you haven't been trying to feed your people. The first couple of games, like I was hanging around 0 points going into the end game, and then you get a bunch of end game points. Today did a little bit different, and actually I had points before the end of the game.
Like 30 something in points.
Yeah, which was interesting. I actually fed my
Wild.
people today. I think that's pretty much it for Mesos. Let's get to the table and come back with our thoughts. All right, we are back. We played Mesos from Cranio Creations. Dave, you played the game a couple times. What was your initial thoughts when I was like, hey, you want to play this game about cavemen?
Yeah, I felt pretty caveman-y. No, I.
Remember
when
that old
we were
caveman
playing-
cartoon with like the guy with the club and the...
Dude, the first thing you told me was like the shamanic event, and that kind of stuck with me. I was like, man, I want to make sure I have the most in that. Sound pretty terrifying, but yeah, dude.
You did love having all the shamans.
Yeah, dude, I was shamaning it
Shaman
up.
hoarder.
Yeah.
I knew about this one going into Essen because Simone Luciani, right?
Same.
Yeah, it's going to be the thing. I did hear some mixed thoughts on it. Like, I heard people go, oh, this is a really great take on it. Other people like, I don't quite get what's going on with it. So I had some trepidation. It's one of the reasons why I didn't pick it up. But we'll see what the thoughts are. But initially, I was like, something I was interested in.
I kind of thought, oh, card game, quick, easy to learn. We'll play it. Don't have to think too much. I didn't have very high expectations, I'd say. I wasn't like sitting down at Civolution and I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? And this is going to be a big experience. But we'll see how I ended up as we talk about it.
Dude, and I do love building like a tableau, and I love card games and building a tableau. So like,
You were all
I
in.
played
kinda-
other-
I was good.
I played a lot of card
Try it
games
out.
with you here at BGGCon, building up tableaus.
Right, dude. Yeah,
Seems to
That's
be your
that's my
thing.
jam.
Yeah, this isn't generally my jam, like the tableau building, but it had Luciani's name on it, and I needed free shipping from Europe.
There you go.
So
So-
you threw it in on a Cranio order?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Cranio had free shipping. We got Beyond the Horizon, this, and Golden Cup, which all have Luciani's name on them.
And what's cool about it is that don't they throw in their little promos whenever?
Yeah,
you
so
order from
I
them?
got the little promos for all three of them as well.
Were there promos for this
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, remember we couldn't find what some of the buildings did, and
That's
they
right.
were on the card.
Yep.
Nice.
Like the multiplier with the building that
Yeah.
said 3 per all the
Yeah.
different buildings. That's a
Yeah.
promo card.
Yeah.
Nice.
So let's get to the pros. My big pro for this one is, you know what? Feeding is hard, and I didn't know that. When you pass, you go and you have to put your after you play, if you go first, you get to put your thing on the top to go first next round, which I didn't explain. But you get food, and then depending on the player count, second place may get a food. The middle things don't, and the bottom one has to pay a food or lose 2 points. And then on top of that, depending on where you go in that row, it's like, well, that card, I get more cards if I go later in the turn, but then I don't get as good of a choice of what I want. So do I want to take 3 cards of what's kind of left, or do I want to take 1 card? And if I'm taking 3 cards, that's 3 people I got to feed later. So like when to go early, when to go late, when to take a lot of cards, when to not take a lot of cards. That's my big one. I think I missed talking about the builders as well. The builders give you a discount. The other card is a builder, and they give you a discount on buying the buildings, which the first game I wasn't sure that they were that big of a deal. I think buildings are pretty cool.
They're the only cards that have victory points actually like printed on them.
Yeah, and the builders actually
And the
score
builders,
points
right. I think they're
themselves,
the only ones
and then
that
they
actually-
give you discount on
you're
building
right.
the buildings, which also the buildings cost food, and guess what? You're also having to pay your people food and then lose points if you don't do that.
It's a risky strategy.
So
but
it's
it can
risky to
pay
try to
off.
go get, if you can't, you go build a building and then you can't feed your people.
It seems pretty cool, like you, to be able to, like, if you're gonna go for a strat, you also have to either hunt for food as like your main, you have to pair that with whatever your strat is, or get gatherers. You kind of have to figure. You have to kind of like pick a lane and go with one of those. You know what I'm saying?
You know what it reminded me of a little bit, Dave, and you might see if you agree with me. Take the flow of history, but take out the auction mechanic, where the different colors in the flow of history are all
sure.
things that you're trying to build into your tableau so that you can score all these victory points. It was coins, if I remember right. But, you had war and you had all these things that would take it away. I like this a little bit better, although, I love the flow of history. But the auction mechanic sometimes falls flat on some people. They don't like the money and all the different things like that. This one takes that out, and you're just the only thing you're really bidding on is your turn order. It's like if I want
And
some
up or down.
if you want a
think
lot
that's-
of cards, well then you're going to go last in turn order. If you want to get first in the turn order for the next round and some food, you're only going to get one card. So it's that juxtaposition. I ended up getting stuck in the back a lot, having to pay food and getting the worst cards.
Yeah, I thought that was. I wonder that might be a con for me. So maybe we'll talk about it a little bit.
Talk about it
yeah.
if you want.
One of the things I really liked was there's a couple design decisions I really liked. One of them I liked was that one event, the shamanic event, kind of forced this player interaction where we're all looking at who's got the shamans and am I last, am I first, can I draft a card to get me, out of last or into first. And I don't know that I've played a lot of tableau builders that have something like that.
Usually it's solitaire, right? You're
Yeah.
just playing by yourself.
So we're looking over. You're looking over there, and you're counting, and then you're like, oh, I'll just get a shaman next round, and then none come out, and you're like, oh crap, I'm screwed. So I thought that was a fun element that had you looking at not like in detail about what other people were doing, but just one card. One card, you're looking at what other people are doing and kind of figuring out how to position yourself there.
I think the juiciest part about this game for me is what Rob was saying, is that placement of your worker and like trying to decide
that's a
do
really
you want to
fun
set
decision.
yourself up for next round and going first, and getting food is also a great benefit for
Do you want to only get
decide-
one
and
card
you
and
only-
make
but you only
sure you get the
one
card?
card.
Right. But maybe
Do
it's
you
the
wanna
card
lock
you really
people
want.
out? Like so when the cards go down, there's only like 3 or 4 cards that go down in a row, right at the bottom row, and like there's only in the 4-player game, there's 4 spots that'll give you the down card, where you can lock someone out from getting the down
Yeah.
card, depending on the way you place your worker out. Because like in the 4-player game, the last spot will give you 2 cards at the top row, 1 card from the bottom row, but there's 3 other spots or
You might not even get a card
might
at
not
the
even get
bottom.
anything.
But maybe you don't
And,
want
like,
it.
you just
Maybe you didn't
wasted
want one.
of food.
Right.
You
you
only
want-
got 2 cards. That's a great part about the game.
A pro for me is the special actions on some of the buildings. So I guess it kind of leans into a prawn, but it's really more of a pro. The special building that Rob got this morning that I got yesterday allows you to get a card at the end of the round, so you can actually slide back further up in turn order, getting some food back, and still get 2 cards per round. But I would kind of like to see more of those. I mean,
Like
it'd
more
be
special ability
it'd be
cards.
An easy expansion to
Yeah.
build more buildings.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's a good idea.
what a surprise, man, to have that. Rob's just sitting there, Dan. Although I think you forgot to take it one time.
I did.
Yeah, but at the end, I wonder if that was the difference in the game between you two. His one building, man. You never know.
We'll never know.
But it's a cool, surprising thing that I wasn't expecting. Some of the buildings actually give you a little extra bonus. So instead of just points,
Yeah.
You got any pros? You haven't said any yet.
Yeah, I started.
Yeah, he did say he was talking about the worker placement.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of different strategies. You can do
Yeah.
a lot of different things. Dave and I did pretty different things this game, and we ended up fairly close together. I think one thing is everyone kind of can play their own game and do their own thing, but you also need to pay attention to what other people are doing and maybe not let them run away with certain things as well. And like spread some of that out, but then that could be the detriment to you, and someone might do something else. So it's hard. It's the hardest thing. Like building a building is a scary thing. If
a lot of
if you're
food.
not ready to do it.
A lot of food.
I think that might be like a prawn. I don't know if
I have one more pro.
You got another pro?
con,
I got one
but,
more
like-
pro.
Okay, go ahead.
What I really like the design decision, how the events come out first, and you get
Oh,
you
yeah.
get 2 rounds to
Yeah,
prep for
nice.
them. when I first heard about the rules, I was like, oh, these events are going to randomly pop, and like you don't have much control.
I hate games
you don't
that
have
do
much
that.
agency, but you felt like you could prep for it.
I do.
I know hunters are going to do stuff. I'm going to get some hunters. I know I'm going to have to feed. So I thought that was a really clever thing to have the 2 rows, and the events come out on the top, and you get basically two rounds of drafting to kind of get ready for them.
Yep. And again, you could add more events to the thing in a mini expansion, you know? So,
I like the production in this one. I think the card quality's okay. They're not like linen finish or
is
anything.
this something you need to sleeve, you think?
No,
There's a lot of shuffling.
Rob,
Yeah, I don't-
Rob doesn't sleeve anything.
I don't sleeve. I also don't play games enough to destroy them. And I like the little totem pond player tokens.
Yeah, they're actually pretty cool.
Those are
Yeah,
cool. And like
yeah.
the insert's not bad. It's got like a well for everything. I like the variability, like the tiles. Like this, they have the 2 setup tiles at the beginning. So the 2-player side, the 3-player side, there's a 4-player side and a 5-player side. And then on the back, it tells you what number tiles, and you put out the letters in the order. So setup is really easy, and the box isn't huge. The rule book was really like you can teach this game in 5 minutes and get going.
I learned it from you, not from the rule book, but I've had to refer to the rules because I was teaching yesterday. The rule book is actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
And it's got lots of little the descriptions of how the actions work. So
Yep. And on the back, it's got a good appendix of what things do.
yeah. Thumbs up for the rule book on this one. Any other pros, or we're moving to pros and cons?
Yeah, we can go into the con zone.
So I guess it'd be more like a prawn, but like to me, it's one of those games that like you have to pick a lane and just stay in it and rush it hard, or otherwise you're not gonna you're not able to do everything in this game. You're not able to like diversify. I think you have to pick something and just shoot for it.
You have
Yeah.
to do well in one thing, for
Yeah.
sure,
Right.
right? Yeah.
And,
you
like,
got to do
there's a lot of
okay in
games that,
some
like-
other things, right?
Yeah.
And you have to
Yeah.
figure out a way to
You have
feed
to,
your
you have-
people.
the most important thing is get food, figure out how to score.
Yep.
Like what are you going to score in? Go for that. How are you going to get food? Go for that.
That's kind of the strategy guide, right?
Pretty much.
Pick a lane and don't lose points.
And I started to go back to another pro. I like the play time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
kind of
You can talk while you're playing.
This game's a
too.
nice little chatter game too,
Yeah.
you know.
I just like games that allow you to do like almost like anything.
More
everything.
open.
Yeah, dude.
Or
Give me
more of a-
of
you
a
could do more than one
open
thing.
book
Sure.
Or something.
Wasn't that surprising, though? We literally chatted and talked and johned each other and talked about strategy the whole game, and it still came at 50
I
minutes.
did kind of
Yeah.
have to push the game forward a little bit. I was like, okay, who's first? You're first.
I
Pick
know,
a thing.
but the game doesn't drag. It would have taken us another 10 minutes to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
easy for a game
Usually
like this.
Rob is pushing the games forward. So
Yeah.
He was jibber-jabbering.
Like I was chalking and prepping the podcast and stuff all at the same time.
Yeah. Always a pro.
Yeah.
Always a
I
pro.
honestly don't know that I have a con for this game. It's so simple and straightforward. Games like this, I find it hard.
Okay,
Like,
what's the usual stuff we're looking for? Bad iconography? Nope. Super
No.
easy to understand?
like
Production quality?
a
Nope.
mechanism we don't like.
Nope.
I like the tough decisions and the arrows and stuff.
Jeremy, you know what this means. This is Rob's
This is
first
Rob's
4.5
4-boy.
game. Yeah. Oh
we
my
predicted
God.
it.
We were here. We were
Yes.
witnessing history.
Yes.
We're like
This is
beyond the
board
E,
boy
Jerry.
history.
We're beyond the E. I don't
Yeah.
even know where we are right now, man.
The only con I can think of, it's not even really a fair con. It's not a big anchor night game, probably. For me, it's you play it in between games, you play it at the beginning, you play
Yeah,
it at
so the
end.
inverse is it's a nice little filler game.
Super
right?
filler is what a lot of people call these, right?
Yeah.
A little super
And
filler.
that's why it's not really
Yeah.
a fair con.
Yeah.
It's
You
just,
know,
it's
you know
got
my
enough-
buddy Steve calls these games like this tapas games because
Yeah.
you'd play it 2 or 3 times,
Right.
or you'd play this and 3 other games, and you'd be sampling from all the little
I mean,
games.
you
as your
played.
game night.
What game have you played the most at the con so far?
But probably but tied between this and Flip 7.
Yeah.
Oh, a duck and cover. I played that one a lot. So
Okay. Well, anyway, you played
Quack.
Mesos 3 times.
I did, yeah. So I
I would like
probably
to see,
tied for my most.
Someone be more mean in this game. I think there are ways you can be mean.
Really?
It's like taking away. Yeah, dude. Because like you gotta build like a little tension. Try to hate draft.
You know what? My con is I don't know that I don't think the 2-player game is kind of average.
Y'all did play it 2
Like,
players?
yeah, I played it at
Yeah.
2, 3, and 4. I think more is more fun because you're kind of comparing stuff, and there's more cards out there, and there's more choices on that row. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know that I wouldn't not support this at 2. Like, if you are mainly a 2-player game person, I think this is still
I
fine.
thought it was fun at 2.
Yeah, and it's more. The thing is with 2, it feels more mean. That's what made me think of it, is because you're more head to head, because everything you're doing is directly interfering with the other person. So if you don't want that,
How does the scoring work? It's like one person gets points, the other person
Yeah.
doesn't? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It was a lot easier to hate draft at
Unless
2.
unless
if
you
you want to
tie.
hate draft, play it
Okay.
at 2. Because you
So
just
part
go
of-
one step before him, take the card you know he wants.
So part of the strategy is also just bootstrapping and trying to be tied with the other guy.
or
all
like
the time.
Yeah.
you know, he's trying to get there's one shaman out there that can beat you and you just get it first.
Yeah, see, like I think the game is
like, a little bit
probably
more-
the game's probably 10 minutes per player, right? So you probably bust this out in 20 minutes with 2 people.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I mean, setup, I guess for what it is, setup's kind of annoying. You got to pull the cards out if you're playing with different player accounts.
Maybe one prime.
Sorry, I'm trying
Unless
to.
people, leave 4+ cards in the box when you're playing with 4+ players.
Yeah.
That's my only con, and it's a
Return.
very small one. It's this is just a picayune complaint. Is that, and there's no other way to do it. Is that you have to organize the cards before you, but it doesn't really take long. So I can't call it a
It
major
doesn't.
con. But that's it. That's the only flaw.
All right, should we get in our
Maybe
final
one
thoughts?
prawn. I think you hinted on it. Maybe
What's up?
going last, taking 3 cards, and then not having cards out there, and then penalizing you the next round.
It's rough.
That is rough. I felt it definitely once this game.
But you
where to
chose.
get-
But you choose
I
that.
did choose it, but I kind of didn't because the one card I wanted, the only way to get it was to go there, depending on where things went.
Another juicy decision in this game is choosing buildings over people.
Yeah.
It hurts,
Like,
man.
because like it's like you build, are you building your engine, or are you gonna get a building to score your points, or like
Yeah.
it'll help you more. But like it's one less food that you have to.
Yeah.
I
feed
could see people getting frustrated though about not being able to get anything good, and almost feeling like they were forced into it.
Yeah.
And then
I want to play it at 5 and see if that happens.
That-
If like
would it be
playing
even
5,
worse then,
Like you
maybe?
might get stuck in the back and never get out unless you just take a nothing card that you don't even want. You know?
Yeah.
But
Maybe that's
of
part
course
of
as
the
a first
strategy.
player you get the whole.
You could just go first.
Yeah, you get the whole tableau to pick from. So the
Yeah.
whole market. So
Then that is one more decision. Is like, do I go early and take 1 card, or do I go late and take 2 or 3 cards? Sure, more cards means more points, but it also means more food.
And like those
but it also
gatherers,
means
dude, like a lot of people are heading for those early. They're trying to get those early. So like if you go last, you're gonna probably miss out on the gatherers.
yeah.
So like you're gonna be owing more food at the end.
before we give our scores, I do have one more con. The one con is that Rob owns this game and I don't. Yeah, boo, boo. No, I really
You can
do.
fix that, dude.
I want to get this game. Yeah.
All right, here on the Board Boys podcast, we have a 3 Boeing rating scale, 0 being the worst, 3 being the best. One time only, you can give a 4 Boeing game. If you're BJ, you just break the rules and give everything 4.5s.
Unlimited.
And I still haven't banned him yet, so
Unlimited.
you and Bo have unlimited whatever
You're just
you
going
want
to
to
edit
do.
it out of the podcast. Anyway,
Yeah.
so.
So I think he has a common bow is like 10+, right?
Yeah, 10 plus, and he can and he does whatever rating he wants. So a 0 Boeing game of Mesos, I think you're back. You go back to the future, and you're back there, and you just don't know how to hunt anything. You can't speak the caveman language. Your time machine breaks, and
You just keep taking negative point
you start-
tiles.
Well, I think you starve to death
Right.
in
You starve to
reality.
death.
You already- okay,
That's your
yeah.
negative point tiles,
Yeah.
negative calories per day.
Yeah, you hit that good diet. That's paleo, I think.
A 3 bonger would be you actually go back to caveman days, but you have a case of Celsius with you, and you're
Oh.
like super energized.
Yeah,
you can
you're out there hunting woolly mammoths.
You can outrun the cheetahs, right?
Building lots of buildings.
Oh, you've got a solar-powered charger for your phone, so it still works. So, for the rest of the time, you're the only one in the whole world that has all this technology.
I'm in
They
the
should make a
future.
tech card for that in the game.
That'd be good. That'd be a 3
All
bonger.
right, Jeremy, hit us with your final thoughts.
Oh man, I have to go first, huh? All right. I think I'm gonna give this 2.5 Boeings. I think because it's a fun, interactive card game. It's easy to play. You can play it with lots of people, and there's like positioning. I like the positioning of I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna get that building that Dave really wants, and it's gonna screw him, and it's gonna help me. So I like those decisions you're making. I'm assuming it's relatively inexpensive, so I think for the money and the teach, you can have a lot of fun out of it.
I'm going to give it 4.5 boings, but I'm going to round that down to 2.5. And actually, it's almost a 3-boinger for me.
I was thinking about 3.
I want to see how it plays at 5. It might be a 3-boinger for me, but I'll give it a 2.5 boings. A strong 2.5 boings is what I'll say.
Yeah, I think it looks like it's like $25.
Really?
yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't normally consider price in there, but
That's a lot of fun.
That's a lot of game for $25. So strong 2.5. I love the tableau building. I love the economy of it. I love that every game I played, 3 in a row now, someone has taken the one card I needed, and it's just so frustrating. It's a good feeling.
It
though.
hurts so good.
But it's that minor hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you know you can just set it up and play again.
So the first time we played this game, we played it completely wrong. We played speed Mesos, right?
Oh, for the first half of the game, yeah.
Right, like we put our worker down and pull the cards off.
That's
the
a
board.
different game.
Yeah, it
That's
was
a
a different,
totally different game, right? Once we play with the correct rules, the game just like totally sung. You know, it was like, wow, that's the game. Is the worker play?
Oh, he's going 4.5, I think.
I think he's going 4.
I'm gonna go 2.5 though.
Okay.
I really enjoy it. It's great, dude. It scratches all the itches out, like tableau building, a little bit of meanness. Yeah, it's good.
So I've only played 2 of the 3 Cranio games I got in the bundle. This is my favorite one. I like this better than Beyond the Horizon.
Wow.
This is a 3-boing game for me. Hard 3.
Whoa.
So this is
I
like the
don't-
Beyond the Sun of Cranio Creation games.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
I don't
fantastic.
have really a bad thing to say about it. I'm not a huge tableau builder guy, but this is going to be my tableau building game. Like
Nice.
I can play this game with a big thing for me these days is can I play this game with anybody? And I think the answer is yes.
I think Bo could play this, right? Easily.
100%.
Super easy.
I mean, he might not like it because it doesn't have like scary dudes in it or something.
It
but
doesn't have bunnies in it.
yeah, no me bunnies.
Fighting bunnies.
Yeah, but yeah, it's great. I
Convert
really
these
like
to
it.
miniatures instead of little,
all the
little
cards.
tokens.
How do you shuffle miniatures?
Put them in a
sure.
bag and you draw them out.
You might like it, though, if you had minis for this game.
You're not wrong.
You could 3D print buildings
Acrylic
for all the
tokens,
buildings.
Yeah.
3D print all the buildings, Rob.
Yeah, dude.
All right, before we get into our look back, let's go ahead and hit our top 3 games of the con so far. Okay? And I'll go first.
You better, because you're
And
ready for this.
for me, Civolution's number 1. That game, spoiler alert, it might be a 4-boinger, guys.
Oh.
Really?
That game has ridiculous
Wow.
replayability. If it had, I'm gonna check out. I don't play a ton of solo games, but I'm gonna check out the solo rules on this, and if they're good, I don't know, man. Civolution
I'm with you there,
is
Rob.
tight. Number 2 is SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Did I say all those words right?
I think so.
From CGE. I love CGE. I think this brought CGE back. I mean, I like Kud Noora.
It was okay.
Yeah, but this one, it was solid. I thought this game was going to be way more complicated than it is. The rules are only like 20 pages. 3 or 4 of those are set up. There's so many big pictures in that rule book. Like, the rules are all kind of what you do is on the board and stuff. And the table presence is pretty neat. So, SETI would be my number 2. And I think my number 3 is Terrorscape. I had a lot of fun with that. Not a lot of games that go even like 45 minutes an hour were like, let's play again. Half of it was because it takes a little bit to set up. But I can see this game being a game at a game night where you play 2 or 3 games of it and you just rotate who's the bad dude. So that's my top 3.
Nice.
Kind of disappointed, Rob. I thought Wonder Bowling would be in your top 3.
Oh yeah,
Is that what that game you
He
were
brought
game
it-
was fun.
He brought this game up
Wonder
like
Bowling?
midnight, and
Yeah.
you smack this box with this stick with
Yeah.
a ball on it, and you're trying to knock
Oh, yeah,
bowling
I saw y'all
pins.
playing that, dude.
Yeah, dude, if that game was for sale in the United States, I would buy it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, that reminds me just like that Hobble game where you dump a bunch of gems on the box and you have a little hammer and you try to knock it
Oh,
off.
yeah.
That's where you're hammering.
Yeah.
No,
And
that game is the perfect midnight game at a con.
Midnight,
It was just
you're
banging
too
on a
tired
box
to
and
learn.
knocking bowling pins down.
It was funny to watch you guys play.
You
that.
were good
Yeah.
at it though. Like I
Yeah,
kept,
man.
You like the Wonder Bowling.
So that was
savant.
one of your
I am
top
the
3.
Wonder Bowling Wunderkin.
I thought that would be Rob's top game. But
No,
no,
it was
all
fun.
right. I'm gonna my top games, my top 3.
It's
gonna
definitely top 4, right? Yeah. It was
Yeah, number 4.
number
four,
4.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Mine are the same 3. I'm gonna do them in a different order though.
Okay.
Terrorscape is my top. It was because of the experience. It was just so much fun. and getting that feeling of tension and scaredness, and then laughing at Rob when he had no idea what was going on.
Man, we could have a little.
Or when we tricked him. Like, it was so good when we tricked him. It felt so good.
Yeah, Jeremy's youngest daughter's the same age as Bo, and and he lives like 5 minutes from my house. So I imagine as years go by, we'll have like more kind of like game nights together and things, or like just hanging out and playing games. I think games like this they would like.
She also likes your doggies and your kitty.
Yeah, for sure.
So then number 2, Civolution. I just really like the openness, and I want to play it more. We played it at 4. I was nervous playing it at 4 that it would be too much of a slog. It was a little long. I think I liked it better with you just at 2, because then I just got to build my civ faster, not as much downtime. It was a fun game though. And then SETI, I just want to keep trying it more. I think there's a lot of good decisions in that game. We talked about how it felt a little like Arnak, and I think I like it better than Arnak.
It doesn't kind of.
I think it feels like that because you're burning your resources doing as many actions as you can round after round.
Exploring the aliens, dude. Unlocking them, and then you have this whole new sideboard, man.
The Arnak feels basically how long can I go in a round without passing?
Yeah.
But doing stuff that's going to get me points.
Yeah.
I love games like that, like Tapestry and Amalfi, those ones where you can stretch those turns out.
And as far as Civolution goes, I had some trepidations at 4 players, but our 4-player game was just barely longer than our 2-player game.
Yeah, that's true.
And
when
so
I looked at the time, it was
not
that long.
I think once people know...
What did we clock in? 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
We were 2.5,
how to play the game.
4-player.
And I was scared because I think originally people were saying 60 or 70 minutes per player.
Yeah.
And
that table next to us took 4 hours.
I heard a group say 5 hours for their...
Yeah, so I mean, that's definitely out there. But I think with that one, when the group knows it, I think that's a 2-hour game, and that's a normal Euro.
Yeah.
So we're the same 3, just
I mean,
different
it's
order.
a normal of the delicious games type 2-hour Vladimir game or Lisboa type game. Was that all 3 of yours?
That was my number 4. It's Hamlet. I think that Hamlet was fun.
Nice.
That was a fun game.
Hamming it up in Hamlet.
My top 3. I haven't played SETI yet. I feel like that would be in my top 3.
Oh, we gotta
your
play that.
descriptions, I know. By your descriptions, so unfortunately, I think if I played Civolution again, because the last third of the game when I finally really grok what was going on, I super enjoyed it. It would probably make it if I played again. But my top 3, Resafa, which I just dug. I like Vladimir Suchi, so
how did that fall out of my top 3?
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised.
I played it on day 1 or day 0.
Yeah, you were already forgetting
about
it.
that
But I keep wanting to play it again. Terrorscape, obviously, with you guys. Playing it back-to-back, especially because the second game, we all knew the rules. It actually took longer than 35 minutes, only because we were getting good at it. Like we were really messing with each other. And, of course, I mean, Flip 7 would be – I don't have to put it on there because it's like it's in the Hall of Fame. It's in the Hall of Fame. With duck and cover. And I know that I'm like the biggest quack for that game, but when it's late at night, it's 11:30, I'm an hour and a half past my bedtime, and I can't play a big game, so we just set up this stupid game with ducks on it, and we quack. I don't know.
You know what Jeremy and I do? We play Beyond the Horizon.
Yeah, you guys are playing Beyond the Horizon, and we're having so much fun playing duck and cover. So, and we're switching decks, and they're going to get so much money from me because all they have to do is make a new deck with the Indiana Jones theme on it, right? Throw in some promo cards, and I'm going to give them $5, just like that.
Sweet. Dave.
Yeah, my number 3 is Slay a Spire. A little personal biases there, but I'm really itching to go do another run right now because
I want to do it. I want to beat that boss.
I love that game, dude.
We've lost.
My second one is Civolution. It's really just like sings to me. Like I love the little exploration part. It's so simple. Turns are snappy, especially when people reset the boards, and like by the time you even realize it's coming back to you.
Man, that warms the cockles of my heart.
What?
I did not think that was a Dave game at all.
He liked
game,
it.
dude.
He won our
Castles
game.
of Burgundy. I like
Okay.
Stefan
See?
stuff. So yeah, it does feel like Castles of Burgundy because
Now,
he does that in almost every
Were
one
you
of his
glazing
games with
over during the teach?
Yeah. Huh?
Were you glazing over during the teach?
Oh, dude, I was about to fall asleep.
I fell asleep during the teach.
I mean,
I had to bounce in my chair. To stay awake.
I wasn't there for this, but I just assumed Dave was going to say, I'm out.
When I looked at it, I'm like, man, that's a lot. And like when we were doing the video, we were looking up a video to learn how to play. The first thing they explained was how to open up the player board. I said, man, we're in trouble. If the first thing that this guy has to explain to us is how to open the player board, we're in deep trouble right now. But like, no, dude. After
You
after
should have saw
learn
it.
You should have
it's
seen the
so
setting of
quick,
Terrorscape,
it's so
man.
snappy.
You should have saw this, Rob. Though we sit down, Dave and Jeremy too get their player boards.
Jeremy too.
The first thing they do is they open them up upside down,
It just
and
dumps
all the
out.
tactiles.
everything
And
out.
I say, "Oh, don't do that."
It says it right there. Don't open on this side.
I wasn't even paying attention. Dude.
They all fell out.
They
You're
have
lucky I stayed awake during the teach, man.
there's
I was-
there's a warning on there.
Yeah, I played Civolution on 3 hours of sleep, and I fell asleep during Rob's teach. So that's why the second half of the game was so much better, because you did a good job of teaching it during the game. And I actually think that that's a game you could Grogan. You could just say, here's the basics to the game, and then we're all just going to start punching buttons, and you're teaching as we go.
Yeah, this
which
was-
is essentially what you
This
did.
was my first time teaching. I did go over all the actions. I don't know. It's tough. But don't talk about the
Don't talk
upgraded
about-
ones for sure. And everyone's got a little player book. Sorry, we're getting too deep into it.
I know.
Dave,
I love Civilization.
number
dude.
one.
It's awesome. My number one experience so far was Jeremy's Return to Dark Tower. That
Yeah.
was great, man. I had such a great time. I love Return to Dark Tower. It's been like a year and a half since I played it, but like, it's fun just chilling, laughing,
Yeah.
slashing up some stuff.
That's one I need to get out way more. I haven't probably played it in a couple of years, and Bo is younger, and I think he's just gonna like it more now, even
Yeah,
more. Like,
dude.
and he liked the game before, but now like
It's
a couple
really
years
cool.
older. And plus, I got to use that damn lazy Susan that I built for the.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Played this Muse.
That's
Right.
one of my favorite games. I played that game 17 times.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
nice. Plus, you
like-
have that sick, like, you got the new expansion, which we didn't really talk about Return to Dark Tower. I don't like the initial expansion that came with it. It makes the game kind of clunkier and harder. This new expansion, I dug the stuff. I liked the new character I played, and your paint job is very good.
Yeah, I was impressed. It was a good paint job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I need to start trading you painting for 3D printing. I'm just saying.
The only thing I don't know about you just hit a button, and I spend hours at a miniature.
Hey, that PL, I do not just hit a button. There's
That's-
work behind
yeah,
there.
that's right.
Also,
They're
Jeremy
almost-
literally
they're
breaks
almost
his
never
back
I break
painting.
my back.
Right.
No, but Jeremy, they're
all
almost-
hunched over. He's gonna
we
get,
can
like,
find out some kind of good
arthritis and stuff.
ratio.
They're almost never perfect. Jeremy 2 always has to. Is that what we're calling him now
Jeremy
instead of
2?
the Dobster? Yeah, the Jeremy 2. He always has
Can
to.
we call him Jeremy from the evil timeline?
Yeah, we could. That's right.
I wish you guys only one of
Bizarro
you.
Jeremy?
Yeah, Bizarro. Except for like one of you needs a you've got one of you has to shave your beard. No, he doesn't have a beard. So
yeah.
maybe you're Bizarro, Jeremy, because you've got the facial hair.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to have one just like that, but it was red. But if
Oh.
we
You know
if they're in the same room,
You know what you
the
need,
world
right?
is going to
You
explode.
need a
Yeah.
big scar over your eye so you can tell the difference between you two.
A little light bolt, a lightning bolt. All right, you want to talk about a game that we played last year?
Let's do
Yes.
it. Baby, turn around. I wanna see that sexy board. You can go board boys bump.
Or dump. All right, so last year, almost exactly 1 year ago today, we played Last Light, and we're going to do a look back on that.
When we reviewed last slide, it was a 7.5. It is now a
7.5.
It is now 7.4.
Okay, so it dropped one. Probably a lot more reviews. Bump or dump? It's got to be a bump, right?
I think it's a
And there was
yeah.
a second Kickstarter,
Yeah.
which I backed the extra stuff. Did you get the new stuff too?
I don't know. There's new stuff for it?
Yeah.
There's new aliens.
There was a Kickstarter. New aliens.
Ah, no, I need those new aliens.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
And Rob,
How do I
it's-
get 'em?
It's got to be a bump. It stayed in the hotness forever, man.
Yeah, man.
I think it's got to be a bump.
Well, it was originally 7.5 for 3,422.
1807, it's a super bump. Yeah.
Super bump.
Yeah, so it doubled. And it's that low, though. That's crazy. 4x in an hour. Still love it. I gave it, well, let's see. I gave it a 2.5. I don't have what you, there was another 2.5, another 2.5, and there was a 2.
I think I did 2.5.
Because there was
I
guests.
must have did 2.5 because I thought I did 3.
You were probably a 2.
I
Because
guess
it was,
I was a 2.
because it's not normally your jam.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, 4X is not my kind of game. Wow,
So yeah,
I went a
you
2.
guys were a 2.5
2.
and you were a 2.
I-
Have
I
you
would-
played it since then?
Yeah, I've actually played it twice since then.
Okay.
I'd give it a 2.5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still there for me.
Yeah.
That so 2.5s across the board.
Wow, past BJ is an idiot.
Yeah, that guy.
Guy's
like-
a dummy.
I had
Yeah, it's nothing like current BJ.
my brother-in-law and my brother-in-law came into town and hung out, and we played it, and he brought his buddy over, and then I taught it to him, and then they came over the next night, and they're like, "Can we play that game again?" which goes on with my theme of last time. I have never not played that game where we didn't just play it again.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
almost like we
good
played
point.
it a bunch of times. Everyone, because at the end of the first game, everyone's like, "Well, crap, I didn't do well. I can do better."
Yep.
And
That's
you
a
know,
good
the
point.
game's like an hour, and it plays up to 8. Well, with the expansion,
I
right?
played it at 8 one night at Dungeons Gate.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It was fun. And some of the new people did really good. One of the first-time players won. So
I played it with you at either 7 or 8, right? It was a big group.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
we had 8
Yep.
when we played it here.
We got some comments if you're interested.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we have some comments. Part of the Board Boys always do that look back, and we ask for people to comment on it. We've got Jeremy 2, also known as the Dobster, also known as Jeremy
Bizarro
Dobler.
Jeremy.
Yeah,
Bizarro
Jeremy.
Dobler.
Yeah. So Jeremy Dobler says, I've only played it one time, and it definitely delivers on the 4X experience in an hour. I could never see myself owning it, but would play it if someone asked. It's got a bit of that aggressive/mean nature that I don't particularly care for. Something I've been spending a few turns setting up can be wrecked in one good move from another player. No thank you on that. It's a 1.5. Wow.
Whoa.
BJ from Board Game Gumbo said, 4 plays in, and I'm still digging this game. Of course, it's going to be hard to top the back-to-back plays of the Board Boys at BGG Fall. How did we get 2 plays into the con, both with close to full player counts, and both in less than an hour and a half? It must be some kind of magic. 2.5 boing boings. That's an
You
honest
did it.
score right
All
there.
right.
We do have one more. I can't read the handwriting, and it's from Jeremy Thoman, so he'll have to read it because I can't read his handwriting right now.
that's still a fun game for me. I don't think I'll probably ever get rid of it. I like 4X games, but they're hard to get out. It's hard to teach them, hard to get them played, hard to get the time in. I think it's just a fun riot of a game where you're chucking dice and stuff gets killed and you build it back. And I like the card play. 2.5 still, and I would play it anytime. And I'm excited if we play it. I did a wash on my ships, so my ship minis look cooler than they did before.
No, wash. That's not that hard, right, Jeremy? We could
Well,
trade that.
I primed them, and then I put a speed coat on them of their color, and then I did a wash on top of that.
What
But
if I prime them?
But did you press a button?
I did not press a button.
Okay.
And,
Did you wait
and
for
I got
12
paint
hours?
all over my fingers.
Okay, we'll talk. All right. Well, that's another episode of the Board Boys podcast, season 15, episode 10. Man, I'm getting old.
Oh my God, that's like 7 million episodes.
Right.
Season 15 times 15 times 10.
Yeah, go to theboardboys.com for all the juicy links. You can go to our Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. We're going to have lots of pictures from BGGCon out there. You can go to our Discord channel from that as well. We've had a lot of people here. Well, I've been here. We've had some new Discord members, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
You can play BGA with us there.
We didn't talk about it, but you got to meet some of the people that you hang out with on the Discord all the time. You
That's
guys
true.
are always interacting
Yeah.
with the Dobster, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you got to meet these guys.
Yeah,
What was that like?
It's cool. I mean, like, it's always fun to put faces with names and hang out with people.
Rob, what's it like to be famous?
I'm not as famous as Bo, man.
Yeah, Bo is famous, dude.
Right?
Should we give Logan and the
this.
Dobster like boings? Are you
Oh.
gonna rate them?
Dude, Rob's about to slap a rocket ship or a rocket to Bo and just let him go, bro.
Right, just
He's
let
about-
him-
I want to hear Rob's.
Just let him go.
Boing
I
rating,
want to hear Rob's boing rating of the Dobster.
Okay, we'll rate them right here. All right, we'd like to thank our patrons. And by the way, you can become a patron from our website or go to theboardboys.com/Patreon or just go to theboardboys.com and hit the link. We appreciate your patronage.
Shifty teeth.
That's one. Hammond McDonough, BJ from Board Game Gumbo, Timothy Crisco, Shifty Teeth, Jeff Gray, Andre Bosch, Braden Dowdy, Rob Cooper, Richard Lane, Matt Kelly, Jeremy Thoman, and Dom Lankin. Thank you so much, everybody. We hope you like board games.
And remember, everybody, there will be a party for the world. Laissez les bons temps rouler.